Warning, we are not trained or licensed professionals. Do not take any advice that we give as official doctoral prescribed medical treatment. We only use the name as a means to appreciate cinema as a therapeutic device, not to be confused with drugs, antidepressants, or any other forms of enhancements that you might find in legal states. Please enjoy responsibly.
Additional disclaimer. If the film says we can say it too. So check the film rating, and that will be our episode rating.
Hello, good morning. Even though it's probably not morning for you.
Good
I guess it
afternoon.
is.
Good evening.
Good day. Good day.
Good day.
Good day. Welcome to Film
Welcome.
Therapy, as always.
Thank you.
I am
Welcome.
Jake, and I am joined, as always, by my illustrious co-host, Madison.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for being here with me, as always.
It's a pleasure.
We have a guest this week, a very special one.
Yeah.
We are joined today by the Queen of Lizards herself.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. I'm Liz.
Hi,
Yes,
Liz.
this is Liz. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to Film
to the-
Therapy. Thank you
Yeah,
for being our
Thank
guest
you.
today.
Thank you. I need therapy. My regular therapy wasn't enough.
Same.
We all need therapy. That's why we're here.
We all need therapy. Mm-hmm.
No joke.
So Liz is one of Jake's friends he met online, and do you want to get into like kind of how you guys met?
Liz, how would you say it? How did we meet?
So I have always been interested in voice acting, and I found the realm of audios on YouTube. So I started doing them, and then I get a message on Twitter from Jake, and then we just started talking, and we became friends, and we've been friends ever since.
That's awesome.
That's great.
That's pretty much the sum up of the story.
Yeah, but I messaged you a little bit after I'd found it, but it had only been like maybe a month or so.
Let me look.
What do you mean, what you look? I think it was
scrolling
in
up
Got
your Twitter.
receipts. And I met Liz, formally tonight, but Jake shared with me her Twitch channel, which I had been following for the last couple weeks, and she goes live on Twitch. How many days a week would you say?
I have 2 definite days, but I do have 2 probable days. I stream whenever I can on Fridays and Saturdays. My normal days are Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then I do whenever I can in between.
Okay, nice. Yeah. What's your channel name again?
LittleLizardAudio.
LittleLizardAudio. So if
Little Lizard.
you like Twitch, you want to watch Liz play some games. She plays The Witcher
or YouTube.
or her YouTube channel. Yeah, we'll link that in our description to all of her
Go
stuff.
subscribe. Go subscribe.
Thank you.
So this week we wanted to watch Dr. Dolittle, the old version, 1967,
Old.
and the newer version,
New.
the middle version
Middle.
/ the one we know best, from 1998 with Eddie Murphy. Because Liz has a ton of pets, and she has been known as Dr. Dolittle to people that she knows. So, and she had never seen the movies before this, right?
Mm-mm. Yeah, no, I haven't. I didn't even know who Dr. Dolittle was. I only knew from context from being called that so much.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were all gonna, we all watched those movies this week or within the last couple days, and we are very excited to share them with you today.
As
I
always.
have no idea. I've been trying to talk to people about these movies, and nobody has seen the original.
Oh
and
my God.
Honestly, I may have just seen it, but I feel offended and hurt that nobody has seen this. Like this is art. This is art, and nobody has seen it. Nobody appreciates it. The people that I do know that have seen it have talked mad smack that they should not be talking.
Oh no.
You
Anyway,
need to do is you need to go to our film school that we went to and then see if anyone there has seen it.
Yeah, we should post on our film school Facebook page.
I will
because
join
anyone's
your
seen.
film school Facebook page. I am a science major, and I will gladly join your Facebook page.
You should.
Or-
We'll approve you somehow. Yeah, so Jake, when did you watch the 1967 version? A couple days ago?
No, Liz, when did you watch it? Because I watched it when you watched it.
Like 2 nights ago.
Yeah, okay.
And Jake, you were like, I cannot get through this.
No.
And I was like, oh shit. I am not excited.
And then Liz texted me and said hey, I'm watching this, and I'm like, all right, fine, I'll watch the last hour of it. And then I just spent the whole time just like communicating with you about whatever the hell we were talking about. But it was worth it. I'm glad I finished it.
I'm glad I finished it too.
Oh my
It was a trip. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna go ahead and recap it for y'all.
Bless us all with
Mad
your wonderful
smack.
tales.
Okay, so here we are in early Victorian England. Matthew Mugg played no.
Mug? That's his last name?
Matthew Mugg, apparently, played by
his
Anthony
name Mugg?
Newley. He takes his young friend Tommy Stubbins, played by William Dix, to visit eccentric Dr. John Dolittle, played by Rex Harrison, for an injured duck that Matthew has acquired from a local fisherman. Oh, poor duck. Dolittle, a former medical doctor, lives with an extended menagerie, including a chimpanzee named Chi-Chi, a dog named Jip, and a talking blue and yellow macaw named Polynesia. And Dr. Dolittle claims that he can talk to animals and goes on to explain this in a flashback where he has kept so many animals in his house that created havoc for his human patients, so they took their medical needs elsewhere. And his sister, who served as a housekeeper, demanded that he dispose of the animals or she would leave. And of course, he chose the animals because his sister was kind of a jerk.
She served no purpose.
Yeah.
I don't blame him.
Polynesia the parrot taught him that different animal species can talk to each other, prompting Dolittle to study animal languages so that he could become an animal doctor. So he plans his latest expedition to search for the legendary great pink sea snail. And so then they come out of their flashback. Dolittle is treating a horse for nearsightedness. He places glasses on the horse, and he is accused by the horse's owner, General Bellows, of stealing the horse and ruining his fox hunt by sheltering and protecting the fox and her children by a group of skunks that protect the foxes, which drive the bloodhounds out of the barn where the skunks are kept. Wow. And Bellows' niece, Emma Fairfax. Why does he call her Fred?
It was they're making fun of her. She said, I don't remember what she said. It was something along the lines of she hated being a woman because women were treated a lot differently than men were, which is especially true for the time. But Matthew was talking about what she would be called if she were a man, and somehow Fred came up. I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I didn't catch that. I was like, well, he calls her Fred, and Dolittle calls her Emma. So I'm like, I don't know what her name is.
Yeah, it was the ironic nickname from the inside joke, but he just kept it throughout the whole movie, and I loved it.
Okay, all right, awesome. So Bellows' niece, Emma / Fred, is offended by his lack of human empathy and chides Dolittle for his rudeness to her uncle while he states his contempt for her and other humans who hunt animals, causing her to storm off. And Matthew falls in love with Emma at first sight. Aw. And then an American Indian friend of Dolittle sends him a rare push-me-pull-you. I forgot about this part. A creature that looks like a llama with a head on each end of its body so that Dolittle can earn money for his expedition. So Dolittle takes the creature to a circus run by Albert Blossom, where the push-me-pull-you becomes the star attraction. And of course, they sing a song about it.
Never seen anything like it.
Never seen anything like it in my life.
In my life.
And the doctor befriends a circus seal named Sophie, who longs to return to her husband at the North Pole. Oh, poor Sophie. And Dolittle smuggles her out of the circus, and he disguises her as first a baby and then in a women's clothing as like his grandmother, and takes her in this carriage with other people, and they just don't think anything of it. And then
Granny was ill.
Granny was ill, and then he throws her into the ocean off the coast, and when he gets there. And then fishermen mistake the seal for a woman because she's still wearing the clothes, and have Dr. Dolittle arrested on a charge of murder.
Whoops.
So then
This was a
General
trap.
Bellows comes back as a magistrate in this case. But Dr. Dolittle proves that he can converse with animals by talking to Bellows' dog, revealing the details that only Bellows and the dog could know. Which is what Bello ate the previous night, which was a lot of pie. And
6 servings.
6 servings. So Dolittle is acquitted on the murder charge. The judge also sentences him to a lunatic asylum. Poor boy. Then Dolittle's animal friends get him out of there and escape the asylum with he, Matthew, Tommy, Polynesia, Chi-Chi, and Jip. They set sail in search of the great pink sea snail.
Emma too.
And Emma comes along because she's like, wouldn't you like some great food on the trip? I am a great cook, and I will cook you great food. And
Oh boy.
Only for one price, and that is a free trip.
yes, and she doesn't know where they're going really, because Dr. Dolittle is like, I'm just gonna pick a place, and maybe the sea snail will be there.
Aang, you have no idea where you're going, do you? Well, I know it's near water. Sorry, I had to.
No, I love that. I saw the scene in my head.
When I said it, like, awesome.
So Emma is a stowaway because Dr. Dolittle doesn't know that she's there, but Matthew does. He randomly chooses their destination, Sea Star Island, a floating island in the Atlantic Ocean. But then there's a storm and the ship is torn apart. So, somehow they all escape alive and they're just floating on wreckage pieces of the ship and meet up together in the morning. So then everyone washes ashore on Sea Star Island, where Emma and Dolittle admit that they had grown to like each other. Oh.
I think I like you.
I think I like you too.
because Dolittle did not like Emma before. And Emma's like, why don't you like me? Why don't you like me?
And then
Why
he's
To be
don't
like,
you
fair,
like
I didn't
me?"
like her either, but then I grew to like her.
Yeah,
and
same.
then he's like, I think I like you. And then Liz was like, yeah, I'm feeling the same.
Stupid song. But then they are met with the island's natives, whom they mistake for hostile savages. But
Oh,
the
boy.
populace are in fact highly educated and cultured from reading books that have washed ashore from innumerable shipwrecks. And their leader is named William Shakespeare the 10th.
The 10th? Was it the 10th? I thought it was
Yes.
the 3rd.
No, it's the 10th.
The 10th.
Oh, okay.
Because the tribe names their children after their favorite authors.
Honestly, I thought it was valid. Like you're on an island, all you have is books that wash ashore. So like not only are they extremely educated, but like they read more than like anybody. I thought it was cool. I liked that. I thought it was funny too.
Yeah, because Dr. Dolittle starts to speak in broken English to them, and
What a
William
funny
Shakespeare
accent.
is like, what a funny accent. So anyway, William explains that they are wary of strangers coming to the island, and that the tropical island is currently endangered because it is drifting north into colder waters, and all the animals on the island have caught colds. Oh no. So mistrust leads the islanders to blame the doctor and his party. Dolittle persuades a whale to push the island south.
That was
But
cool.
this
That was great.
causes a balancing rock to drop in a volcano, fulfilling a prophecy that dooms Dolittle and their party to die of 10,000 screams. However, the push by the whale also causes the island to rejoin the unknown mainland, fulfilling another prophecy that dictates that the doctor and his friends be heralded as heroes and they are freed. Wow. So while the doctor is treating the animals on the island, he receives a surprise patient, the great pink sea snail, which has also caught a severe cold. Dr. Dolittle discovers that the snail's shell is watertight and can carry passengers. Wow, how convenient. So Dr. Dolittle sends
4
Matthew,
bedrooms.
Tommy, Emma, Polynesia, Chi-Chi, and Jip back to England with the snail. Emma wishes to stay on the island with him, but the doctor is adamant that a relationship would never work. And she finally admits her feelings for the doctor and kisses him goodbye, even though Matthew's like in love with her.
Yeah.
I hated that part.
Dolittle cannot go back because he is still a wanted man in England. But furthermore, he wishes to investigate the native stories of another creature, the giant Luna moth. After his friends have left, Dolittle realizes painfully that he has feelings for Emma. Oh my gosh, I totally missed this part. Sometime
Yeah, me
later,
too.
Sophie the seal arrives accompanied by her husband.
That I remember.
They bring a message.
Because he's just like, oh, Sophie, it's you. How have you been? I see you found your husband.
Yeah.
Like, he's
Nice
so
to meet you, sir.
nonchalant. He's
Right.
so
He's like,
nonchalant.
oh, hello, Sophie.
Oh, hello. Where'd you come from? Not like,
God.
how the f- did you get here? He's just like,
She swam, honey. How you think she got to the North Pole? She swam.
She's a pretty quick traveler. And
Oh, yeah.
so she and her husband bring a message saying the animals of England have gone on strike to protest his sentence, and Bellows has agreed to pardon him. So Dolittle and the islanders construct a saddle for the giant Luna moth, and Dolittle rides the creature back to England. The end.
it looked like Mothra. A little bit.
Yeah, it was weird looking. Oh my god, guys. So, like, what?
This is a 2.5-hour film, and I loved every minute of it. And I'm ADHD.
Oh god.
I adored it. I can't sit still for 15 minutes. It took me several hours to watch this, mind you. I was getting up, doing stuff. I was also painting my toenails at the same time because that needed to be done. But I loved it. I thought that it was. I thought that all the songs. I did not know it was a musical going into this. Actually,
No,
Either.
no idea.
No
I
idea.
had no idea that there were songs. I had no idea that there was music. I didn't even know that it was going to be 2.5 hours long. But every little thing, I don't know what it was about the film that made me love it so much. But also to note, film aside, the video quality, especially for the time, was absolutely fantastic.
It was really good. I was honestly very impressed.
I was very
Absolutely.
impressed too. I love
for the site
sound
we
of
watched
old
it on.
films, but
Yeah.
I
Wait, I didn't
know.
watch it on that site. I watched it on Amazon, but okay.
I didn't. I watched it on a free site.
Yeah, me too. I watched it on the same site you did.
Yeah, because
Awesome.
you sent me the link, that I'm like, shit, I rented it like an hour ago.
Oh, shit. Yeah, oh man. The whole push me pull you scene, that was a lot. So, like, yeah, the beginning took a long time, and then he went into this flashback that took forever, and all the characters singing had horrible voices, I thought, and the
Oh my
lyrics were
goodness.
horrible, I thought.
Ha!
It's like, I am swimming in the sea because I like swimming, and I'm swimming in the sea, and I like swimming with the whales, and the whales like me, and I'm gonna swim with the whales because we are friends.
Nobody swam. The only one that swam was Sophie the seal.
It's like that. It's like that one song that says like, "I need you by my side, 'cause I need you by my side," or whatever the hell.
Yeah, it was like, and will
It's
you
like,
miss
wow,
me?
stunning
Will
lyrics.
you kiss me? Will you miss me when I'm
Gone.
Okay, I don't remember many of Emma's songs. The only one that I remember is Fabulous Places, only because I did not like her songs all that much.
I didn't like her songs either. I
I
thought
did
her
not.
voice was really bad.
I understand for the time. I didn't particularly like it either. I did like it a lot more in Fabulous Places, only because I liked the character better, and I feel like she fit into the character more and to the song at that point.
Was that her
But-
first song?
No, it wasn't. It was like her second or third.
Okay.
First song was towards the beginning after she
It was like-
swam off.
Yeah,
leading
right
up
after
Right.
the
for the first time.
bellows guy.
Yeah. I did not like that song. It was a little difficult for me to sit through that one actually. But going throughout the movie and her character development, I think her character developed more than any other character did. And I
would
very
agree with
much
that.
liked. Yeah, I very much liked the way that she ended up because she started out as a character that I highly disliked, but then she became like a very vital character to the story, and I very
Yeah.
much enjoyed her there.
I would agree with that.
But go on, you were talking about your dislike. I'm kidding, go on.
Well, I just think this movie would have done a lot better if it was made in like the 50s or late 40s. It just seemed like more of that era to me rather than the 60s because, you know, other movies that were made in the 60s, like The Graduate,
Yeah, I was thinking of
you
Graduate
know,
too.
like The Graduate
good
is
movie.
so good. And this
It is. I love The Graduate. It's so good.
it's just
Same
like,
year.
it's more
Same
of
year,
like
Maddie.
yeah, it's more like
Yeah.
a Wizard of Oz type, like a Chitty Chitty Bang Bang story that was made. Well, when was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang made? It was like,
that was 66, I think.
oh,
Let me
really?
see. Let me look it up. Wizard of Oz was 39, which is
Yeah, that was like way early.
Hang on, let me see.
I didn't realize it was that old.
Chitty
Yeah.
Chitty Bang Bang was, I like that one a lot better, but I grew up with that
1968.
one. Oh, damn, really? Oh, man.
I'm sorry, Maddie. I've never seen it.
Oh, man, that is
I've
one
never
of
seen
my
it either.
childhood
I've seen The
favorites.
Wizard of Oz though.
Wizard of Oz is amazing, hands down.
I
The
love
Wizard of
Chitty
Oz was
Chitty.
my favorite movie growing up.
Have
It's a
you
great one.
seen Return to Oz?
Oh, God.
It's
I've seen The Great and Powerful Oz, or Oz the Great and Powerful.
okay. The Return to Oz they made in the 80s. It was like a sequel that Disney did, but it's not like Disney at all. It's this really dark and twisted movie. It's like Dorothy goes back to Oz, and then there's like a witch with 1,000 heads, and like the Scarecrow and the Tin Man are like they're all like turned to stone or something, and then it's really disturbing, but it's amazing.
I feel like I would love that.
It's great. It's dark and twisted and effed up, and it's awesome.
My favorite take on Alice in Wonderland is the Tim Burton version.
Mm-hmm.
So that like sounds right up my alley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be similar. I haven't seen Return to Oz. But oh man, that's crazy. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was a year later.
Can I get some Return to Oz fans in the chat, please? Oh wait, we're not streaming.
Some Return to Oz.
Let's get an F in the chat, boys.
Yeah. Can I get an F in the chat for Return to Oz fans? Thank you.
So, Liz, you have been called Dr. Dolittle, and I want to have that explained a little bit more. So, why do people call you Dr. Dolittle?
When I was younger, I preferred animals purely because I didn't have many friends, but I just felt drawn to animals. I've always liked animals, especially growing up. And then my first dream job was actually to become a marine biologist, the first profession that I vocalized, even before I talked about acting or even before I even knew acting was a profession. The main reason people call me Dr. Dolittle actually is because I already had a couple of pets. My dog, she was a stray and who we ended up keeping only because of what my family calls a Broadway performance of me crying and convincing them at 11 years old to keep said dog. And we kept the dog on a, quote, trial basis, end quote, but we ended up keeping her and she's like 7 years old now. A couple years after that, I finally convinced my father to let me adopt a cat. Because I had been wanting one for years, and I do love dogs. I love both cats and dogs, but I tend to lean more towards cats. But we got a cat who ended up becoming so close to me that he had separation anxiety from me. So he would pee on everybody's stuff except mine at night when he couldn't sleep in my room. And then the ultimatum that my mother set was either we get another cat or we get rid of Milo. And Milo was my baby and still is my baby. So we got another cat from the shelter named Mittens. A couple years later, like 2 years later, I get a text from my dad asking if Milo was outside. I said no, he was inside. In fact, he was right next to me. And then I asked him why. There was an orange cat that was apparently in our driveway. So I followed the direction in which this orange cat went, and it led me underneath my neighbor's shed. So I introduced myself to this weird little kitten that was orange and randomly came up out of nowhere because I'd never seen it before in my life. And after introducing myself to it, he walked out into my lap, started kneading on my thighs, purring, and then tried nursing from my shirt. A couple minutes later, I'm sorry, this takes a bit to explain.
No,
a couple minutes later,
keep going.
Aw, thank you. A few minutes later, he got out of my lap, went towards the alleyway and started screaming. I didn't know why. And then he came back into my lap, and then I saw something out of the corner of my eye. I looked over, nothing was there, so I thought it was my hair because I do have big fluffy hair. But then I looked under the shed again, and then there was this little black kitten. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. This kitten was shy, a lot more shy than its sibling, so it didn't let anybody touch it. It didn't let me pet it at first. And then another few minutes later, a gray kitten shows up, and he's all friendly. He gets in my lap too, gets some pets. But the gray kitten is still screaming, and I didn't know why. I realized it was because he was calling their fourth sibling, who we got a few days later. But I ended up keeping all four because they declared me mother. I could not get rid of them because they were abandoned. At least that's what we think, because they're just randomly popped up out of nowhere. They're way too friendly to be feral, and they are my cats. I did keep them. We named the three boys Curly, Larry, and Mo.
Oh my god.
And then because there's three boys, and then there's one girl. She was the one that we didn't catch until a few days later, just because she was so scared, so timid, skittish, and shy. But the only thing we knew about her before we got her was that she was a calico cat. So we called her Calico Cat, and then that just ended up being shortened to Calico. So we named a Calico Cat Calico, pretty much. I also ended up saving a turtle, and I saved it from getting hit by a truck in the street, and I just put it in the backyard. It can easily go under the fence in the backyard, but it didn't.
Oh.
It stayed for a year. It even hibernated in our backyard.
Oh my god.
And the it got to the point where this box turtle would come to our back door and beg for food. So we would give him fruit, and mango was his favorite.
Oh, mango.
Yeah. And recently I got a squirrel.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was outside petting the street cats, just the cats in the neighborhood who hang out in my street. The street cats that hang out in my neighborhood like to come to my house, especially. One of them likes to jump my fence and hang out in my backyard. There was one that was screaming outside my window one night. It was strange. I don't know which cat. I don't even know which cat it was because there's several neighborhood cats who come around here. But I was going to say hi to one of those cats, and then I heard like this bird-like screaming, and I thought it was just a bird. I thought it was a nest, but this was only a few weeks ago, like 3-4 weeks ago. So I went inside, and then my mom comes in, and she has this screaming in her hand, and I look to find the source, and it's the squirrel who has no fur, who still has like the little blood mark from the umbilical cord. It was only like a week old. Its eyes were still closed. And so we've been nursing her back to health, and she just actually fully opened her eyes yesterday.
Oh my god!
Yes, so she can see now. She's getting really, really big, and she's getting so much fur. I am so happy.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, she's the newest addition to the family, or at least the newest street addition. That's not to mention all of my aquariums.
Yeah.
Those were all of the ones that I quite literally harvested from my yard.
Oh, that's so amazing. I am so inspired.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it so much.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that's why people call me Dr. Dolittle. Also because we have neighborhood dogs that will not stop barking. And I was outside talking to my neighbor. This is the neighbor who I found the cats underneath his shed. But I was talking to him one evening, and the dogs wouldn't stop barking, and he like yelled hey, or he said shut up or something to the dogs. They wouldn't stop barking, and so I, in my mom voice, was like hey, and then silence.
Whoa.
He looked at me as if I was a witch. Like it was amazing. But even my therapist calls me Dr. Dolittle, and that is the reason why I knew who Dr. Dolittle was without knowing who Dr. Dolittle was, and that's what got me interested in watching the films.
That's awesome. Yeah, so in your Twitch stream you have like a bunch of aquariums as your backdrop, right?
Mm-hmm. That's not my backdrop, that's just my room.
Right.
Yeah, I have them in the background.
You have them in
when
the
I
background,
was when I was setting up, I really wanted them in the background just because I hadn't seen it before, and they're a huge part of my life and something I'm very passionate about. I'm still passionate about marine biology to this day. Don't know why, just am.
That's awesome.
But
That's amazing.
yeah, thank you guys. But they're a huge part of me, and I thought that it would be cool to share. And I didn't know what to have in the background if not this, because there's literally nothing as interesting or nothing that could be a background other than just like miscellaneous stuff, and I needed a place to put it, and that just so happened to work out.
I really like it.
Thank you.
So it's like, how many tanks do you have?
Core tanks, I did have 3. I accidentally broke one of them. There was no water in it. It was after I cleaned them, and I was putting them back. There's nothing in them. They were just like stray tanks that I have pushed away. But regularly I have 4 set up tanks that are always set up. I have a big tank that's on it's the first shelf, but it's the middle one because it's not on the floor and I have stuff on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I have a large axolotl tank, and I have 2 axolotls. I have 2 5-gallon tanks, which are my shrimp tanks. I breed freshwater shrimp, which are really, really cool because I did not know that you could breed them until recently. And I did not know little freshwater or little ornamental shrimp were a thing until recently. And I have one 6-gallon tank, which houses my beta fish, Crunch. And Crunch is actually the reason why I have all of these tanks, because the only reason I started researching into these animals was because Crunch was a pissed off, angry little fish, and I wanted to make him happy, so I started researching about beta fish, and it just did not stop. So now I'm here.
Wow.
Yeah, now Crunch is happy. He is an incredibly happy fish. He's over, I want to say he's close to 2 years old now.
Nice.
Yeah, he's an old little beta fish, but he's happy. He's living it up.
Oh, Crunch.
But, oh yeah, and I had 3 little tanks for axolotl eggs when they breed, and now I only have 2 because I accidentally broke one, but those aren't set up anymore. Those are just empty tanks that are stashed away.
So what are axolotls?
An axolotl it's a salamander or an amphibian. Amphibian, specifically a salamander. All salamanders actually start in water like tadpoles. I didn't know that.
Okay.
But and what makes an axolotl different is they don't metamorphize, so they don't lose their gills and go onto land. They stay in water their whole lives.
Okay.
But they fully mature. And they're only found in one place in the world, in a lake in Mexico.
What?
And yeah, they're endangered right now because of not only global warming and pollution, but because they were so plentiful back then that they were also food because there were so many of them. But now they're endangered, and people are doing a lot of work to kind of up that population. But since axolotls can regenerate limbs, they were used in a lot of cancer research to see what gene they have that allows them to regenerate limbs in the way that they do. So most of the axolotls that you will get in stores are derived from the ones that were in lab research rather than the ones that are in the wild, but they are still cool nonetheless and very, very interesting to look at. And
That's awesome.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
I love that so much. That's so cool.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
So are they just
adorable.
babies right now?
No, I have Lieutenant Dan is my wild type. Oh, you're gonna laugh even harder when I tell you why.
Okay.
Oh no! Oh no!
I named Lieutenant Dan because when I got him, he had one leg. Yeah, he was. I first wanted an axolotl when I was in this aquarium store a couple towns away from me. I was there visiting, and I saw this golden axolotl, and I thought it was so cool, so I started doing research, and I set up a tank, and I was ready for it. But when I got there, it was gone. The only one that was left was this little skinny, small, dying one with one leg.
Oh.
And so I felt so bad because nobody wanted him. He was just there. He looked sad. He looked terrible. He was losing weight. He was going to die. And I said, if he's here next week, I'm going to take him home. I do not care about because the golden axolotl wasn't there anymore. I didn't care about finding it. If this axolotl was still there, I was going to take him home. He unfortunately was still there, but not unfortunately for me because he was my baby. And I took him home, named him Lieutenant Dan because he only had the one leg. And now he's about 13 inches long maybe now.
Whoa.
And he has all of his legs. He is massive. A big happy boy now. Yeah,
oh my
so-
god. That's awesome.
Thank you. I'm so proud of this boy.
Oh.
But yes, he lived alone for quite some time until
Yeah.
I was at the store just visiting. I was only looking for shrimp. I only wanted some shrimp because I had the new shrimp tank set up, and I wanted to I wanted to boost the colony so that there were more shrimp in the batch so that they could breed and up the colony count. And they had a golden axolotl there, and I lost my mind. And I have enough room for another axolotl, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it, and I did it. And
you did it.
I did. I don't have a name for her. I still didn't have a name for her, so her name is LittleLizardAudio because I had no other name, and I just called her that.
That's
but
cute.
she is a golden albino, and her and Dan are very close, and they get along, and they are very friendly. So,
Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
thank you. They're
That is so
babies.
cute.
They are so cute.
That's
Oh.
amazing.
So they're completely aquatic.
Yes, they have 4 ways of breathing, so they can come out of land and breathe oxygen, but they do need to be kept moist.
Okay.
But they do live in the water, and it's not advised for you to ever take your axolotl out of the water. But if they were to jump out, or if you were to lift your axolotl up and put them somewhere else, they'll be absolutely fine because
Okay.
they can breathe oxygen.
Wow.
So
Very
yeah,
cool.
but they do like to be in water, and that's where they live.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, but
So,
they do
yes.
require a lot of special care, but they are very hardy once you get everything set up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. I love that. They're.
Thank you.
I bet they must be so cute. Do you have pictures of them?
Oh my goodness, yes. I have so many photos.
So that's why they call you Dr. Dolittle.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. One thing I want to say. First of all, Liz, thank you for telling us that. That was an absolutely beautiful story.
Of course.
That's great.
Thank
And
you for letting me.
Of course. And this is not, I swear to you, this is not my only takeaway from this. I swear. I swear this
God.
is not my only takeaway. But when you said you were looking for shrimp, and then you found Lieutenant Dan, I couldn't help but make the connection because Lieutenant Dan.
Oh, bubblegum shrimp?
Yeah, bubblegum shrimp.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, shit. That's true.
I didn't even think about that.
Okay, what's happening here?
I'm sending photos.
Oh, yay!
Maddie's like, gosh, what's going on?
I was like, what is the notification I'm getting? Oh, Lieutenant
hold
Dan
on.
is so cute.
You're gonna lose your mind when you see him recently.
Oh my gosh, I love him.
Thank you. I love him too. He's baby.
So it's called a golden?
No, he's a wild type.
Just a wild.
Yeah.
What are the golden ones like?
The golden ones are they're albinos, but they have more melanin or a certain kind of melanin than a regular albino, so their skin appears golden instead of pink or white like you would normally see in an albino.
Oh, interesting. That's cool because I mean he already looks kind of golden, but like to see an actual golden one, that'd be cool.
Yeah, when he was smaller, he looked pretty golden because he's smaller and younger, but he produced a lot more melanin as he got older.
Okay.
Yeah, he produced so much melanin to the point where you can't really tell that he's GFP other than his eyes. GFP is green fluorescent. Oh my goodness, I can't speak. Green fluorescent protein. It was introduced in cancer research, and because most of the axolotls you find in stores are from those axolotls that were in cancer research and introduced to that gene, whenever you have a batch of baby axolotls, the gene can randomly pop up, and he just so happens to have it. They glow under blue or black light, and as you can see in the first pic, he looks like the green specks. He looks like he's glowing. He is. And his eyes, it's so cool. When I turn on the blue light, his eyes just glow green.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And LittleLizardAudio is actually GFP, but she's not. Her tail glows a little bit, but her eyes don't glow nearly as much as Dan's do.
Wow. Yeah, I can tell his
picture.
eyes are really bright.
Mm-hmm. Here's a picture I found of Dan and LittleLizardAudio, and you can see the sheer size of Lieutenant Dan.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
He's huge.
He's huge.
Mm-hmm. He grew.
Oh my gosh.
Instead
wow.
of
oh my
Lord,
God.
give
he
me
is
strength, he
gorgeous.
said, Lord, give me length.
Wow, look at that. That's amazing. I've never seen one. Wow, his like little frilly gills.
Yeah, those are his gills, actually.
Amazing.
Oh, this was just yesterday.
Aww.
But that's LittleLizardAudio. Her gills, when I got her, and it was the same with Lieutenant Dan, their gills were really small. But once they were in, like, a good environment and everything, they obviously grow out. But on one side, LittleLizardAudio's gills didn't grow out as much. They're just really stunted, so I say it's her lucky gills, like in Nemo, his lucky fin.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, they're so different, and they're so beautiful together.
Thank you.
Yeah, LittleLizardAudio's like a yellowish golden, and Lieutenant Dan's like a dark gray, blue, green, purple.
There you
almost.
can see their real size comparison.
Wow. Yeah, she's a lot smaller.
Mm-hmm.
But Lieutenant Dan is so big. He's like a dragon.
They're actually called a Mexican something dragon. I think Mexican water dragon.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's what it looks like for sure.
Yeah, another reason I was drawn to them is because not only do we look alike, it's my curly floofy hair. I was told looks like gills.
Oh.
My nickname is Lizard, and I'm a swimmer.
Whoa.
So it fits so perfectly, and I'm also Mexican.
Ah!
So it added bam, bam, bam on top of each other,
Full
and I was
circle.
it was meant to be.
Wow.
I love that. They're so cute.
Thank you. Here's one of my favorite pictures of them.
Yeah, those are really good pictures.
Thank you.
Maybe we should post some on Instagram.
Yeah. Put it on film therapy.
Yeah.
It won't make any fucking sense until the episode comes out.
Yeah,
Nope.
we'll post it when the episode comes out.
I'm actually looking for a third one right now.
Oh yeah?
They had eggs at one point. Unfortunately, they didn't survive, but that's very common for the first batch, especially since LittleLizardAudio is still very young, and I did not expect them to breed at all. I wasn't even for sure that LittleLizardAudio was female.
Mm-hmm.
You actually can't tell until they are fully matured. And normally that's around like 8 months, or when they're 7 to 8 inches long. It varies. Lieutenant Dan, I couldn't tell when he was little, but I just figured male. And he ended up being male. Little Loddle, when I first looked at her, I thought that she was female just because, like, the way that they're shaped and everything. But again, since she was smaller, I couldn't tell. Turns out I was, again, right. And she ended up being female. But I'm looking for I think it's called Lewistic axolotl, which looks like an albino, but it has black eyes, which is, when you look up an axolotl, Lewistic is normally what first pops up. And I'm looking for specifically a male, so if Little Loddle likes him and they breed, their eggs and their babies will most likely be a lot of more rarer morphs.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
But, yeah, I do have room, since I have a very short but very long tank. There's a lot of floor space, and that's, as you can see, they stay on the floor. They like to swim up and gulp air, but it stresses them out if they have to swim too far up. So they prefer just a little bit of a distance to swim up, gulp air, go back down, and chill out. Actually, this doesn't really have anything to do with anything, but it's pretty funny. When they gulp too much air, they'll start floating until they burp it out. It's happened on multiple instances.
Oh,
that's great.
We had to get a custom tank just for the dimensions and everything, and for it to be so short, because normally tanks are a lot taller, but this one had to be a lot shorter, obviously, for this kind of animal. But since there's a lot of floor space, there's a lot of room. So I was thinking, you know what? Maybe this could work, since axolotls they're not aggressive, they're not territorial. It does depend on the temperament of each and every axolotl, because they're all different, but they tend to be more chill towards each other, and mine obviously take very much towards each other, and Dan loves having a buddy.
Aww.
So
yeah, I can tell they like each other.
They do. They hang out with each other a lot, and it's very sweet to see.
I love that so much. Look at them. They're just like little buddies.
They are. For the first couple of days, when introducing them, I had a tank separator just so that they could be like, because Dan was used to being alone, and the last time he was with another axolotl was in the store, and when they're young, axolotls they are cannibalistic, so they will bite anything that moves, even if it's another axolotl. And if there's a big size difference between the two axolotls, that's a very big hazard, because the bigger axolotl will think that the smaller one is food. And that's what happened in Dan's case. That's why he was missing 3 legs, is because of the golden albino that I first took to was bigger and thought that he was food and bit 3 of his legs. But yeah, I kept him by himself for so long purely because I didn't know how he would feel about another axolotl, if he would have like Loddle PTSD or something. So I was very, very wary when I got Little Loddle, but again, it was impulsive. I did have room. It just fit so perfectly. But after a couple days after I took out the tank separator, they didn't hang out with each other at all for days, but then they just started hanging out and cuddling, and they've been best buds ever since.
That's awesome. Best case scenario.
Oh yeah, I didn't expect it to work out so well, but I'm so happy. Dan is such a good boy.
So, can you talk to them?
Define talk.
Did your parrot teach you 2,000 languages of animals, and axolotl was one of them?
I wasn't allowed to have a pet bird. I wanted one as a kid. Was never allowed to have it. Yes.
I don't think I would want a bird. I just think I don't know. I've been into this YouTube channel recently, and she has a bird that like seriously actually talks to her, basically.
Wow.
And it's really awesome.
One of those, I think, cockatoos? The white birds?
It's a green bird. I can't remember what it's called. But she's from Australia, and it goes in the shower with her and like sings.
That is so cute.
Yeah, so I was like, well, maybe I should get a bird that talks to me, because he is so cute. He just like flies around and sits on her shoulder, and yeah,
and that's so really sweet. if I were to get a bird, I hope to God not, because I really don't want to deal with a bird. I have too many cats. My cats don't attack other things, especially with our fish, because that's what we were kind of nervous about. I literally have one fish, but just in general. But all they do is just watch them. Sometimes they'll put their paws on the tank, but they never try and harm anything. Milo was an inside cat. Milo was born and raised to be an inside cat. But Milo likes to go outside, and one time Milo brought in a frog. I have never seen a frog in my neighborhood in my life. He brought a frog in from our backyard. He cried outside my door, but I was doing something, so I ignored it. I told him, like, no, then I would let him in later. And then he goes into the bathroom, and then a couple minutes later I found out that he was trying to gift me a frog, but the frog wasn't injured. The frog was fully functioning. Like, there was no puncture wounds or anything from my cat. And two of my other cats were in there too, and they were just, Mo, one of my kittens, he was just knocking the frog over, but the frog wasn't even injured. The frog was just chilling. The poor thing was terrified. And Milo was just, Milo was just there pushing it around too. And then I ended up picking it up and putting it back outside, but he's an inside cat. I don't understand.
Like, where do you find that thing?
I don't know. It was in the backyard. We have a video of him carrying it inside.
Oh my gosh.
I don't understand. I'm in awe still. This happened months ago.
I've got a cat here. It's my boyfriend's cat. His name is Zeus. He's a gray kitty.
Aww.
And he brought a baby rabbit up to us one day. And dropped it on the ground, and it just like laid there. So we thought it was on its deathbed. We were gonna like throw it out in the back, but then we picked it up, and we didn't see any puncture wounds on it, and it wasn't bleeding. It was totally fine, and we held it for a little bit. We're like, oh, maybe we can keep it, we can raise it, and then they'll be best friends. And then Zeus won't hurt any more rabbits, and it'll be great. But then we held it up to Zeus for a second, and the rabbit started screaming and jumped out of our hands and ran away. So that was it for the rabbit.
No.
Yeah, but we were dreaming about that for a minute.
So sweet. Actually, when cats do that, they're doing that because they think that you're too helpless to feed yourself. So they're trying to teach you how to hunt.
Huh,
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, that's what their gifts are when they bring you like leaves or food or rats or anything, or when they bring you dead birds. That's them being like, bruh, you gotta learn to hunt. I'm kind of worried about you, so they're trying to teach you how to be a cat.
Skinny.
Yeah. Are you eating? Are you eating?
Oh,
Take this. Learn to do it yourself.
Thank you, kitties.
It's just your pet caring about you. It's just the most precious thing.
It really is. Like, as terrible as it is for them to like put a dead bird on your doorstep, they're doing it out of love and care, not to torment you, not to torment the bird. They're thinking in their best interest. They're thinking in your best interest.
Oh, so sweet.
The only pet that I've got with me is Nala, but the past few days she's been really attached to me for some reason. Like if I'm sitting in the living room watching TV, she'll get up on the couch and get as close to me as I can, and then if I go into another room, she'll follow me in there. I love the attention. This is the most precious thing. But why are you suddenly attached?
I love her.
I love her so much. She's my little baby.
Nala the dog.
I love her.
She is a baby.
So much.
Um,
when I was in school, I would miss her so much that like I'd just be like, oh, I just wanted to go home just to see her.
Yeah, she's so soft.
So sweet. I wish I could pet her. She looks so soft.
Oh yeah, Maddie, you did meet her, didn't you? I forgot.
I did. One time.
Yeah, so Liz, get this. So Nala, she is crazy about this. Whenever someone comes to the door, whether it's someone we know or not, she barks like crazy. The only people she hasn't barked at the first time she met them or at all was Maddie and then a friend of my sister's. And that's it.
I feel so special.
But Jake, we didn't talk about what you thought about it.
Oh shit.
Yeah, when we got back, before I went into my tangent, I was going to ask you what you thought about it.
Okay.
Like your final thoughts.
I love that none of us knew it was a musical going in. That was hilarious.
I know.
Fun fact, Liz, thanks to you, this is, and I actually mean this, I'm not being sarcastic. This is the longest movie that we've watched for the podcast so far at 2.5 hours. So, roughly.
Oh, wow.
So, That's awesome. It was based on 3 books in a series.
Wow.
And then I loved that there was an overture in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like that.
I was
And an
expecting
intermission.
And, wait, no, mine didn't have an intermission. Did yours?
Oh, really?
Yeah, mine
ours
did.
does.
When was it? When was the intermission?
Like halfway through the film,
yeah.
it was
Yeah,
just
same.
it said
I meant-
it said the old-fashioned intermission on the screen, and then there was music playing. It was like, what was it, like 15 minutes or something?
It was a while. I skipped through it.
I skipped through it
Oh,
too.
I can't believe the version I watched didn't have it. Some
Yeah,
things, some
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang has one too. And that's
Sound
how I
mix-
kind of like expected it.
Sound music does too. But anyway, I loved there was overture and whatever the closeout music is called, and an intermission. I just love that old movies do that. We don't get that anymore.
Yeah.
The
I
dude,
agree about that.
The dude that played Blossom, the circus gentleman, he was the guy who plays John Hammond, who's the guy who is in Jurassic Park, who's like the the creator, like the guy
Really?
in white, like the guy that says the.
Yeah, John Hammond.
So my overall thoughts was that I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I saw it, but I didn't really like it that much. I'm sorry.
Okay. Was there like a particular thing that you didn't like about it?
Well, Maddie, I think you said something along these lines. When the movie started, I was like, okay, I'm totally into this. Let's go. Like I'm into the old 60s vibe. I'm into it being a musical. I'm ready for this. And then a little bit into the movie, I just kind of lost interest in what was going on. And then as it went on, I'm like, okay, I like this, but this I don't like. And then I kept going like back and forth. And then by the end, I'm like, well, I'm glad I saw it, but overall, I didn't think it was like anything spectacular.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
Maddie, what did you think overall?
Overall, I'm glad I liked it, or I'm glad I watched it, and I think I enjoyed it overall because I laughed so hard at the part in the beginning where all the animals were wreaking havoc on his
Yes, that
on
was
his patients,
so
and like
funny.
this guy comes in with a broken foot and he just keeps getting stepped
Oh,
on.
I
and
know. I cringe.
Yeah.
His
That was-
sister Sarah was running around screaming, and then Dr. Doolittle's just sitting in his office like, oh,
His face palming. He's just listening to this happen, doing
Yeah.
absolutely nothing to do. Because he's like, I can never recover from this. He just accepted it at that point.
yeah, I laughed really hard at that.
Me too. I loved that so much.
I actually didn't laugh that hard at that part. I kind of cringed.
Yeah, it was real cringe.
It was really cringy. I laughed because of the cringe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
for
like, oh
sure.
my god, this is ridiculous. And like the songs I laughed at because I just hated them. And
Gosh.
oh my gosh, so when the movie started, it did like a loading screen of them all in the great giant pink sea snail, and I was like, what the hell is this movie?
I didn't see that because I skipped through because when the song or like the orchestra music went on for like 2-3 minutes, then I was like, you know what? There's no way in heck I'm gonna sit through this. I can't. Like, I appreciate the music. I like
Right.
this. And actually, as I was skipping through it to find a part, there showed like when they were running through the credits before the film started, they brought up the names of the people who like trained all the birds and trained the animals.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's kind of where it hit me, because I completely forgot, and I think that this added like a whole other appreciation for this movie is because the majority of the animals were real, but they had to be trained. Like they had
Right.
they didn't have
Yeah.
CGI or anything, so those had to be real trained animals.
Right.
And that I just kind of like that took a turn, and I had to step back a little bit because I completely forgot about it, because in this day and age everything's CGI.
Yeah.
Lion King.
Yeah, I was very
God.
impressed at how they got all those animals, especially like, in the first beginning scenes where they go to Dr. Doolittle's house and it's just filled with animals
Yeah.
everywhere. I was like, man, who's taking care of all these? Like, that's so many handlers and everything.
Yeah, especially the bird. The bird
Yeah.
had a lot. And because it looked like, in some of the scenes, it looked like they weren't cut at all. And I don't think that they had really the technology to, like, do cuts and transitions the way we do now.
Yeah.
Or at least I know that they didn't. I don't know how they did it back then. But the bird's lines, especially, like, somewhere towards, I think, the middle of the film, where it was just line after line after line after line. And it was so bizarre to me because I've never heard a bird recite so much in one go.
Yeah.
I'm not
So
sure
I
it
was-
was the actual bird talking. I feel like it was maybe a voiceover
Like a
of an
dub.
actor and then just like having the bird open and close its mouth. That's what I figured it was, but I'm not sure. I haven't looked into that.
That could be, but I'm not sure just because of the time period.
Mm-hmm.
But but then again, I'm not really familiar with many films in that time period because I don't watch many movies. Unfortunately, but I think that's why one of the reasons why I liked it so much is because I didn't have bias. I didn't really grow up to any films of the same time period because I grew up adoring The Wizard of Oz, which was decades before, and then I also loved The Princess Bride, which was like 20 years after. So I didn't really have anything to anchor to that time period. So it was just kind of like a fresh slate for me where I could just sit and enjoy the film for what it was rather than look at the time period or anything from the same time period. But not to say that y'all are wrong or anything, you're not, but I just don't, I'm not familiar with films like you guys are. So I just didn't really, I'm a guinea pig, like a blank mind for it, because I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was going to be a short film since it's so old.
Right.
I didn't expect it to be so long.
So long.
Well,
I know, because when I thought, I was like, are they joking? Like, I can't possibly see how a film from 1967 can be 2.5 hours long.
well, it's
That's like a whole play.
Well, it's funny because like in the 50s, I think there was like 10 Commandments and Ben-Hur, and those are like 3.5 hours each.
Oh my
And like
goodness.
Lawrence of Arabia is like 4 hours.
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm saying. I have no bias. I literally don't know what I'm talking about.
But yeah, no, I mean, it was fun to watch the whole time. I mean, it didn't really seem that long. Of course, I did break it up into a few segments of when I watched, but
Maybe that would have changed my mind because since I watched it all, like in 2 sittings as opposed to multiple, I feel like as the parts I enjoyed maybe would have stood out a bit more instead of just being like one long marathon.
I just watched it. I watched it in one night. Like, granted, I do like to pause and get up and do stuff, but I did watch it in what would have been one sitting. My final thoughts on the film was I absolutely adored it. After watching the film, I was so happy. I was so upbeat. I personally really enjoyed a lot of the songs. I didn't expect it to be a musical, like we all said. I was completely taken aback by it. But a lot of the songs, I really, 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 really liked how a lot of the words rhymed. And I like having those, because it's so pleasing to me. And when I write my own music, I can't really write it without having rhyming words here and there just because it doesn't sound nice to me.
yeah, I
And-
agree. I like the rhyming words.
Me too.
Yeah, it just kind of pulls it together, and how creative they were with writing some of the songs and like the rhymes and everything. As simple as they were, I very much enjoyed it. I very much enjoy the difference, but my favorite by far was Like Animals, and when he's being tried for murder. I showed that to both of my parents. I very much, I enjoyed it so much, and especially because I related so much just to that one song. But the vegetarian one made me laugh.
Oh my gosh,
That was so
ridiculous.
funny. I love that.
So yeah, he sings a song about being a vegetarian, and then halfway through he's like, "I love meat. I want meat. I love meat." And then
like,
the pig
"No, no, no."
starts to squeal, and he's like, "Oh, JK, that's fine. I guess I don't have to eat meat."
That I really appreciated because it showed his character, like, it kind of showed what his character was really about. Because as much as he loves meat and stuff, he knows that the animals don't like it, and what he's doing, especially throughout the whole movie, is he puts himself second and puts the animals first. So that kind of is the first immediate thing that, like, other than was this? I think this was before the backstory. Was this before his backstory?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't remember, but I think you're right.
I think it is.
That was like the first anchor thing, because obviously Matthew is like, oh, he's the greatest animal doctor around. He says this, but we don't get to see it firsthand. But this is that's the first real part that we can see of his kind of seeing a different side of him, and then seeing how he puts the needs of the animals before his wants. but I didn't really like the song all that much, but I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, throughout, I very much enjoyed the film. I thought it was very, very easy to watch, which is surprising since I find films very, very hard to watch. It actually has taken me over a month to finish one movie, like a regular. It's just because I don't lie when I say I'm very ADHD, because I have to be doing something at the same time. But when I first started watching the film, I was kind of like, okay, you know what? Matthew kind of has a really big like for Dr. Dolittle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that I was kind of like, oh, Matthew. But then he came out as, I really love that he didn't like Emma at first, and then he apparently loved Emma, but I loved that they had several scenes beforehand that shows them getting closer and closer. So I was really upset when she kissed Dolittle.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
Purely because of that.
understand.
Yeah, me too.
I don't either, because they didn't. Emma and Dr. Dolittle, I can understand respect between them, but
Yeah.
I didn't see it as like a relationship type bond. I saw it as more of like a closeness, but not.
I
that
mean,
kind
yeah,
of
she thought
closeness.
he hated her, and then she's like, oh, well, okay. Mwah.
And then he's like, I think
Yeah,
I
and
like you.
Yeah, he's like,
Because-
oh.
Yeah, I actually really liked that. I didn't like the song all that much, but I did like that part because I saw it as Dolittle kind of, he was giving in to his own feelings, because he seemed like the type of person who's very much like myself, where I personally will like suppress the way I feels about things and just kind of, I like to goof around, and I like to I don't like talking about myself and how I personally feel. It's more so because I'm afraid to, and I think Dolittle was a lot like that in a sense. And then when she directly confronted him, that's when he finally was like, okay. And then he thought about it and then realized that he did in fact like her. He liked having her around. And I liked that because it was kind of him looking into himself rather than looking into the animals like he normally does. But I did like that. But okay, ooh, what I was gonna say. Have you seen The Witcher, Maddie? The show?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, thank God, because I told this to Jake, but he hadn't seen it.
I'm sorry.
Does Matthew not remind you of Jaskier?
He reminds me of Jenna Marbles' boyfriend, Julian.
Not Jaskier?
Not Yosker. Well, let me look up a picture. I don't know if I remember his face.
Dandelion.
How do you spell
The bard. The humble bard. Who graced a ride along with Geralt of Rivia.
Oh, I see it. Okay, I see it. I see it.
Yeah, it wasn't as much looks, that definitely added to it, but their character was very much alike.
Yeah, I can see that too. Their personality.
Yeah, their personalities were very much alike, and that's kind of, I loved Jaskier so much, mostly because, like, I relate to him on, like, a goofy level, the sarcastic level. I thought he was very funny. I think Matthew was my favorite character of the whole film. But Jaskier was probably definitely one of my favorites of The Witcher, but I just saw them as so much alike, but not enough people have seen the 67 film and have seen The Witcher, so I couldn't tell this to anybody. They're so much alike.
You are here.
Yes. That's us in a nutshell. Like,
Oh
that's
my
Maggie
gosh.
in a nutshell. It's like we're only two people that have seen the same two things and can make the connection between the two. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. Like, their noses are the same.
I didn't even notice that. The only thing I noticed was the like scruffy brown hair.
Yeah.
Like the comedic relief brunette.
Yes.
But their personalities are very similar. The way that they carry themselves was similar also. Matthew kind of had, I guess, more of a grip on himself. He moved with a little bit more grace. He wasn't as, like, stumbly as Jaskier was. But they were very much alike in their temperament, their personality, just their character in general. And, like, the hair definitely added to it. So that was just, like, one that I made while I was watching the film, and it blew my mind, and it made me love Matthew even more.
And then she's like, Jake,
That's awesome.
doesn't this remind you of Jaskier from The Witcher? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I haven't seen The
Oh
Witcher.
no.
And then I'm like, you know who has?
Yeah, then I was like, I have to talk to Maddie. And I really liked Matthew's songs, actually. I didn't really like his voice at first, but he kind of grew into it. And Emma did the same thing, but Matthew did it even more. He kind of grew into his character, grew into his voice, to where it became even more enjoyable for me, and I could appreciate it a lot more than I could at first.
The song with the circus master was not good. I was like, why does he have a song? He's not even a character. But, I mean, I guess it's like explains that. Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I want to skip all these songs, but they're all just like kind of talking throughout them, and they are explaining a lot of plot points, so I can't just skip them.
I enjoyed it. I liked that the talking, as like talking passionately. I very much enjoy that. I'm not really a huge fan of musicals. Just because I personally view them as a little more dramatic or enunciated. But this one was very much like when they were talking, they were just talking. They weren't like very much, it wasn't like bam, bam, bam. I loved so much about it. I can't. I loved it so much. It's ridiculous.
Well,
and so awesome. Much made me laugh. So much made me laugh, especially because of Matthew, and it made me think of The Witcher every time.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. You definitely loved it more than Maddie or I certainly did, but I just love how much you love it and how much it resonated with you, because we have films like that. There's just something so special and unique and subjective about it, and that's part of the beauty of cinema, really, is just how you can see one movie and someone else loves it and it doesn't really have anything for you, but then you see this other one and it just blows your mind and changes your world, and you see yourself in the world and in the characters, and it has that personal connection, and it just gives you this sense of like, man, like whoever made this movie understands this part of me,
I agree. It especially with young kids, films like sit with them so much, and it really, really impacts the character that they become to be, even as adults, even when they don't think about it. My favorite film when I was younger was The Cat Returns. I was in a store. It was before I could talk. I was maybe a year old. Like, before I was really up and doing stuff, I had just I grabbed the DVD in a store, and because it had a cat on it. And so my dad decided to get it. And years and years and years later, I still can sit down and just completely love the film. And I have no idea how this happened, but it literally shaped my life. It's so weird, because I don't want to like it's so unconscious, and it kind of was like foreshadowing into the person that I grew into, with the movie aside, because I loved the film, but I wasn't trying to be like anybody. I wasn't thinking of trying to be like the characters or trying to be like the plot. I wasn't thinking of any of that. I just grew into something so similar to something that I looked up to and loved so much as a child, and that really goes to show about what kids' favorite films and what they grow up with, and things that they hold so close to them really do shape who they become to be and what they grow into, really. And I didn't really think about it.
Damn, that's
awesome.
poetic.
Yeah, that's a really good example.
That was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
That was amazing. You blew my mind. Maddie, so I don't know if you know this, but The Cat Returns is one of the few Studio Ghibli movies I have not seen.
I think I've seen it.
Oh my goodness.
Shit, snap, really? That's awesome.
I mean, maybe a long time ago. I can picture my friend. She introduced me to Studio Ghibli.
I thought I did. What? I never knew this.
Oh,
I thought I did.
Girl.
Damn. I introduced you to my favorite ones.
Yeah, definitely. We watched a lot of like the cat ones. I can't remember all the cat ones we watched. It might have been The Cat Returns as part of that one. And then, of course, Spirited Away.
I love Spirited Away.
I've only seen 3 Studio Ghibli movies. I didn't know that it was like a big thing until fairly recently, actually, because I grew up on The Cat Returns only by chance. So I never really had the chance to look into it, and especially I didn't really watch many films growing up. My parents, I didn't really spend much time with my family, and I didn't spend much time with the TV. I was outside a lot. But I've only seen like 2.5 Studio Ghibli films, but I do want to watch them more. But Jake, if you haven't seen The Cat Returns, I know what y'all should watch soon.
A
I'm curious, what are the other 2 Studio Ghibli movies that you've seen?
Howl's Moving Castle. I watched it recently with a friend because that's his favorite Studio Ghibli film. I very much enjoyed it, and I've seen the first half of Spirited Away. I never ended up finishing it. I have My Neighbor Totoro. I have the DVD, but I only watched like the first couple of minutes before I got busy and had to do something, and then I just forgot about it. But that's all that I've seen. I've been told, is it Ponyo?
Yes, Ponyo.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told that I would very much love that film, but I've never gotten the chance to sit down and watch it. But I have seen a lot of like stuffed animals and merch on it, and I think it's a very cute idea, but I know absolutely nothing about the film. I haven't seen the film, but
Ponyo is one of the most adorable movies I've ever seen in my life. It's so freaking cute and just a gem of a movie to watch. And then the one that Maddie, I know we watched a couple, but the one that we watched and talked about, and we talked about even like having an episode on it. I guess they're still, because Miyazaki's, coming out of retirement and making more movies, and he's like one of the famous directors. But their latest one was from 2014, and it's called When Marnie Was There, and it's a very, very beautiful therapeutic movie. There's about 10 minutes of that movie I don't like, but the rest of it just speaks to me on such a deep level.
Mm-hmm. It's really
That's so
therapeutic.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Maddie, what would you say?
I haven't seen it.
Would you agree pretty much with that?
Marnie?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, like the animation with it is so beautiful.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. But yeah, When Marnie Was There, it's such like a sweet like love story. It's not my favorite Studio Ghibli movie, but it's one of my favorites. But anyway, that's a tangent. But since we're talking about it, I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, that's okay. Do you want to recap the next Dr. Dolittle?
Sure, I will gladly do that. So the movie starts off with John Dolittle being a young child, and he has an ability to understand and communicate with animals. But then he's talking to his dad, or he's talking to his dog, and then his dad comes in and says like, hey, you can't talk to animals because that's weird. So then John just
crazy.
stops. John just kind of stops talking to animals because his dad sends his dog away and all that. And then it cuts to John Dolittle as an adult, played by Eddie Murphy, and he's a doctor, obviously. And he's living in San Francisco with his wife and his daughters. And they have a pet guinea pig named Rodney. And one of the daughters has an egg that she's wanting to hatch. And then there's this other medical company that I think I can just look it up. It says they're going to buy John's practice. So they're like, there's this company that's merging into their hospital. And one of John's coworkers is just this kind of selfish jerk that just wants to join with them and make money. And he even says at one point, like, he's like, I'm selfish. Don't go to me for advice. So one night, John's having just a night at the hospital learning about this merger. On his way home, he accidentally almost runs over a dog. And then he says to the dog, like, hey, watch where you're going. And then the dog starts talking back. And then John's like, well, what's going on? Like, this is crazy. So then he brings the dog home and names him Lucky, and then he realizes that he does have this ability to talk to animals. And in his head, he's like, am I crazy, or is this really happening? And even though he's not sure, he decides, I'm going to go and help all of these animals because I can hear them and I hear that they're in pain and in need. So he kind of secretly, in his hospital room, he's just helping the animals whenever they need it. And then eventually one night, I forget which animal it is. Oh yeah. So there's these two rats that are outside that live in the trash can, and then one night one of them is like, help, my rat friend isn't breathing. So then Dr. Dolittle takes him into the hospital room and does CPR on him. And then his coworkers and his wife, they all come in and see him talking to the rat and performing CPR and like knowing how to what it needs to be treated and all of that. And then they're like, okay, John, you're crazy. So they take him to a mental hospital. And then at this point, Dr. Dolittle's like, okay, I'm starting to kind of lose it. I can't talk to animals anymore because everybody thinks I'm weird and I'm losing my family. So then he just goes back to his normal He goes back to his normal life. But then his daughter kind of distances herself from him because she's like, Dad, you were this person who wasn't afraid to be free, and you were your own person no matter what anybody said. And then he's not that anymore. So then he listens to her and takes it to heart, and then he goes and then there's this tiger that they found in a circus earlier, and it's not doing well and it's gonna die. So then Dr. Dolittle and Lucky, they go and they get the tiger, who's also named Jake, and then they bring bring him back, and then they get him treated and everything, and then they perform the operation in front of everybody, and everybody's like, Dr. Dolittle proves that he can talk to the tiger, and everybody's like, wow, he can actually do it, and he reconnects with his family, and then he decides to become a doctor and a veterinarian. And then he's like, yeah, I can talk to animals, that's a good thing. And then his daughter's egg hatches, and they reveal it's a baby alligator. And then
I thought it was going to be an ostrich.
and then after that, they made a sequel, Dr. Dolittle 2, which I saw both of them as a kid, 1 and 2, because I rented the VHS tapes from the library. And then they made 3 more sequels without Eddie Murphy. I have not seen those. And then they made another one with Robert Downey Jr., which I also have not seen.
Lord
that one
have
came out in
mercy.
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I didn't grow up watching any Dr. Dolittle.
Same. Well,
I almost wanted to watch the newest one, but
yeah, Maddie texted me and was like, I want to watch the new one. And I'm like, Maddie, I don't think any of us have time.
yeah, first of all, I don't have time. Second of all, you said it was really bad, or you heard it was really bad.
Yeah, that's
so
what I
was
heard.
like, yeah, all right, that's okay. I don't need to watch it. But yeah, I didn't remember a thing about Dr. Dolittle from 1998 with Eddie Murphy.
Me neither.
I didn't remember a single thing, and I know I've seen it before. I just remember I remember Daddy Daycare. That's the movie with Eddie Murphy.
Oh my goodness, I've seen that one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what comes to mind when I think of Eddie Murphy.
Me too.
And
then Shrek, obviously.
But yeah,
Shrek.
But yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was really funny, and I was really surprised that it was rated PG-13. Like, I didn't really think there was any reason for it to be other than that there was like a lot of butt jokes, and like he's just said ass a lot and hell and whatever else he said.
That's why.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? Like, they could have easily just made this a PG movie.
I think the second one is PG, because I remember, I think that's like the one thing I remember about it. Let me double check.
Like, really? PG-13? That's crazy. Because I know I saw it as a kid, but I was like, I don't... Like, if it was bad, my parents wouldn't have let me watch it, so...
I think that adds to the charm, though.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have had the same effect if it were PG.
Yeah, it would have been more stupid, like, funny, and,
Yeah.
like, slapstick, probably, if it was PG.
Yeah, but I loved the dark humor.
Yeah, it was funny.
I didn't realize it was a dark comedy until I was looking into it before I watched it, and it said dark comedy under genres.
Really?
And yes, I was surprised because I even thought, I was like, does Eddie Murphy sing in this? I don't know what I was going into. I literally had no idea what I was going into because I knew absolutely nothing. But I was pleasantly surprised. And the whole backstory of John Dolittle was, they took a very, very different narrative with this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because instead of him learning the languages of animals and just having this revelation, because he wasn't feeling being a human doctor. And so he chose to learn the languages and just found the passion for animals, rather than the 98 version where he was just born with the gift of being able to talk to animals, and he went into it without choice.
Right.
And so,
and then
yeah,
got forced to not do it, and then found it later on in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twice.
I really liked the character development of the dad, though. Because, yeah, when he was talking to Doolittle's daughter, what was her name? Amy? The youngest?
Maya.
Maya.
Yeah, Maya. When he was talking to Maya, who has, like, a passion for science, she can't talk to animals, but she was weird to a degree. And John, or Dr. Doolittle's dad, who had previously told John to not talk to the animals, that it was crazy, encourages Maya to do the weird things. And then they had this moment where Maya didn't know that her dad was listening in the hallway, but the grandpa, or Dr. Doolittle's dad, was in the room, and he knew that his son, Dr. Dolittle, also Maya's dad, was in the hallway, and he said something along the lines of, sometimes dad is wrong. Because Dr. Dolittle was just trying to be like his dad, trying to please his dad.
Mhm.
And then when his father kind of had the moment of I was wrong, indirectly telling him that kind of hit a little bit.
Yeah.
And then that's really where the turn in Dr. Dolittle or Eddie Murphy happened in that film. And then he like gets a lot closer to Maya, telling her that it is okay and that she can be who she wants to be, and that who she is beautiful and wonderful. And that very much made me very happy, and I very much enjoyed that.
Yeah, me too.
I agree.
I also agree.
Yeah, so I think later on, so that Kyla Pratt plays Maya, and then when she's older, she has her own Dr. Dolittle movie, and I think she can talk to animals then, so I'm wondering like how that develops. I kind of wanted to watch that one too, but I was like, I just
honestly,
don't have time.
If we had time, we would have watched all the movies, like all 7 or 8 of them.
Honestly.
But
I would love to compare and contrast all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Because the only comparisons really with the 67 and 98 version were that one scene where Eddie Murphy puts glasses on the horse, which Dr.
Yeah,
Dolittle
that I noticed
does.
too.
And which I really love that scene in the older one.
Yeah, me too.
I thought that was really good.
And then
And
also,
then
I
he
thought it was
goes to
cute.
like a mental hospital for a little bit.
Yep.
And I think like the newer one really played on like the mental health aspect of it. They were just convinced he was crazy, and took a more serious toll on his career and his family and everything that he could talk to animals. Rather than like, you know, in the older one where he did have a choice and he didn't really have a family, so it didn't really affect them.
Yeah, it seemed the 67 version seemed like more of a fantasy,
Yeah.
and this one felt a lot more real to an extent.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah. And then also the other similarity was there's like one shot where it's him and Lucky like walking down the street, and I'm sorry, that's when I noticed it. But the circus is called Blossom Circus, the circus where the tiger is. That was the other thing I noticed that connects to the
That's right.
Oh, Blossom Circus. Yeah, that was in the... Oh my, I didn't even notice that. The only thing I really noticed that really hit was the horse and the glasses.
yeah, that was great.
I thought that was very... Like, I absolutely loved that they kept that in, because I was kind of... It was so different than the original 67 version that as I was watching it, I didn't even compare it anymore. I watched it as a whole different film.
Yeah.
Because it was so different, but it was different in a good way. I really enjoyed it. And they're rats. I hated them, but they are literally hood rats. That made me laugh so hard. I love the rats.
Yeah,
and they spoke
funny.
Spanish, and I was like, my people! I really liked both, and I really liked that they, as different as it was, and as shocking to me as it was at first, how different the narrative is. I think that they did a really, really good job at still telling a story of Dr. Dolittle, but making it so different and making it a lot closer to this day and age. And I feel like it came out a lot more recently than it did, because it does not feel like a 98 film.
Yeah.
The only thing that made it feel like a 98 film was Raven-Symoné as a really young kid.
Yes.
And his hairstyle. I
was living for his hairstyle.
Oh god, it looked like a Lego hair.
I was living for it.
Yeah, Raven-Symoné, she was so cute. She plays his older daughter.
She can see into the future.
See into the future.
What?
Future.
Yep. Then there's also that's which spun off into the greatest anime of all time, Cory in the House.
Cory in the House is my favorite anime.
Best anime ever. Best anime OP ever.
Well, you know, and then his wife she plays the mom in Twitches, starring Tia Tamara Mowry.
which also ties in.
I haven't seen it.
Are you ready? Wow. Wow. And then there's the one where they get like all like down into it, like
Sister.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, that's the one I remember too. And then there's like
got my own mind.
yeah, my own style in my own time.
Yeah.
I'm just dying of embarrassment right now, even though nobody can see me.
Let's see, what else? What other notes do I have? I've got it's directed by a woman named Betty Thomas, who also directs Grace and Frankie, the Netflix original show, and John Tucker Must Die.
Those are both things you've told me to watch that I have not watched.
I don't think I've seen John Tucker Must Die, actually.
Oh, was that
But
something
I
else?
told you to watch Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah, that's the one. I'm sorry. That's the one.
Tucker, yeah. But I love Grace and Frankie.
Those both just went right over my head.
And again, it's like the animal training in the 98 one was really good, I thought, too. Because a lot of it, even though like the mouth moving was CG, a lot of it also was the animals actually moving in the scene, too. And I thought that they did a good job with that.
Especially the monkey.
Yeah.
Because the same in Pirates of the Caribbean, it was a real monkey.
Thanks, Jack. You're
Was
welcome.
it the...
Not you. We named the monkey Jack.
We named the monkey Jack.
We named the monkey Jack.
Sorry, I had to.
I love that part.
I know, I do too.
Oh, no, I loved it.
I'm sorry.
I love Barbossa so much. Barbossa is like such a dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, if you've seen the fifth one, Jake.
Spoilers.
Which I don't think
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you haven't seen it yet.
Liz, what are you doing?
I know, that's why I didn't say anything.
So when I meet Barbossa, that's what he's going to say to me is, so tell me, what's become of my ship? And then he's going to take a deep, he's finally going to get his apple, which
He's get his apple!
I just realized it this time, because I never noticed that as a kid. I'm like, oh, he gets to enjoy his apple. That's so great. Yay.
He does, and I love that, but I also cringed because, like,
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been one, I think that, wasn't it a Granny Smith apple, like the sour one?
Yeah.
I love those, but still, like, he took such a big bite of it, and that was, like, such a juicy apple that it was dripping down his beard.
Yes. God.
But that made me cringe just because, like, that's gonna be sticky after, and, like, to get, like, in a beard. Like, I was like, honey, but that was, like, one juicy apple.
And then the movie ends and you have to wait a year for the next one.
I know, but, yes. But, like, that was, it. Oh, I can't even with Pirates of the Caribbean. I've loved them ever since I was a little kid. Like it was when I was a kid. I was still a kid, but I was a little older. But I absolutely adored them. I had a huge crush on Johnny Depp when I was really little. I thought that I was gonna grow up to marry him. I swear to God. But I love the Pirates films, and the second one is by far my favorite, but the ending hits every single time. Like, it just makes you so hyped for the next one.
Yes.
Like, Barbossa, he carried, like, it was a good film, but Barbossa just, like, decided to slap the viewers in the face.
Yes. That was my
like,
exact reaction when I watched it a couple days ago.
Yeah, like, he just steps on you. I would gladly lay down and let Barbossa step on me with his peg leg.
Yeah.
I would let it happen.
So let's see. Let's get some final thoughts in here about...
Oh, shit, yeah. What was the scene with the doctor taking the thermometer in and out? That was so weird.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah. Poor Lucky the dog.
Yeah, the vet was like, I know what I'm doing. Don't tell me how to do my job. You acting like I'm not a real doctor just because I work with animals, but my profession is better because mine can't talk to me. And then he loses the thermometer.
Yeah.
He puts it right in his butt.
Creeped me out.
Yeah, I don't know what
I was like,
purpose
oh,
that
God.
served, but...
And then there's the scene in the bathroom, which also made me question my existence. I felt like I was losing my sanity with that. With
the lady with the crawfish just kept coming.
Oh my gosh.
What was with that?
She has issues.
I thought I really liked that she was a reoccurring character just because it was so weird.
Yeah,
but it's so memorable.
Yeah, definitely.
I want her to show up in like the fourth or fifth movie. Like, we don't see her like for 3 movies, and then she shows up, and it's like, hey.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she was great. She just kept eating shellfish even though she was allergic.
What are you gonna do?
Every single time.
What are you gonna do? I mean, whatever. Food is food.
Food is
She
food.
could just get a shot in her butt and have it be over with. I would probably eat crawfish too, or shellfish too. I still want to watch the newest one. I want to like kind of see what it's out.
Which one?
The newest Dr. Dolittle?
Yeah, just the one called Dolittle with Robert Downey
with
Jr.
I want to see it too, actually. Just
I think
I'm
it's
curious.
all CGI.
Oh God, no.
I'm sure it is.
It's 2020.
That
I
makes
wouldn't
me
be surprised.
sad.
Yeah.
I'm still open to seeing it though.
Okay.
Yeah. I would want to know like what the similarities are between all of them.
Well, that's your therapy for next week. Okay, we're done.
I didn't watch anything this week. I didn't have any time.
I didn't have.
Did you guys watch anything?
Other than the 2 movies, no.
Yeah.
I did. The only things I watched were Pirates of the Caribbean 1 and 2. I would have watched the third one last night had I not had to get up for work this morning. My cousin and I, we watch movies all the time, and the movie we watched this week was War Games, because he had not seen it, and he's like, "Dude, you wrote a book," and I'm like, "Yeah," and then he's like, "Wait, is this like a sequel?" And I'm like, "Yes," and then I'm like, "Okay, you gotta watch the first one, the actual movie." So we did, and he liked it, and I love it, obviously.
Good. Yeah, do you want to talk about your book?
Not at all, because I can't publish it. Okay, I'll talk about it. Which you could call wasting time, but I call Wonderful Tangent number 2071.
Noted.
Yeah, so I wrote a book. I wrote a novel, and I finished it last October. And recently I went to a website and I got a printed copy. It is a sequel to the original film and novelization from 1983. And it's a direct sequel that deals with the characters dealing with the ending of the first movie and new characters coming in and joining their circle. I mean, if y'all want to read it, and by y'all I mean you two, not any of the listeners because they can't read it. But if you two want to read it, I mean,
after I see the film, I'd love to. Like, that's really cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's so cool.
I know I've said it before, but
though,
congratulations.
Thank you both so much. That means so much that you're just both like, hey, like, congrats. That means beyond words, but
it's
you
really
can't see
cool
my facial
that.
expression. Yeah, keep going. Just keep saying that all you want. So that's all I watched this week was rewatching War Games for the gazillionth time, and then watching Pirates 1 and 2 for the 10th time because I love those. Probably more like the 100th time.
Yeah.
But it's been a few years. And like you said, Liz, like Dead Man's Chest is great all the way through, but then when Barbossa shows up, it's just like best like 10 seconds of movie ever. It's like so much hype. It's so good.
And then the difference between the soundtrack between the first one and the second one was like massive too.
Yeah.
Not only like it's different composers I noticed, but the second one has a lot more depth.
Yeah.
And it's not only does it, I feel like, I don't know if they added more instruments, but what they did with the second one is, sorry, I was a band kid, but
that's okay.
Same.
Same.
I felt that. What instruments did y'all play?
I played the saxophone.
Oh.
I played percussion. There's reasons why I quit band, but I'm still glad I did it. Yeah, so I did percussion for 2.5 years.
I did flute.
Nice.
I love that.
It wasn't my first choice. It was impulsive.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't know what I was doing.
My first choice was clarinet, but I couldn't play it because I didn't have enough breath in my lungs. So
I could see you as a clarinet player.
I really want.
I wanted to do percussion.
I was vibing so hard. Like I'm gonna play the clarinet, and then I couldn't because my breath wouldn't go that much because I was 12 years old.
Oh,
I felt that. I wanted to do percussion, but it was full, and I remembered my friend said that she was gonna play flute. And I was late to sign up because this was in elementary school right before I went into middle school, and we were signing up, and I wanted to be in band, and I didn't know like what instruments, so I just like pulled flute out of my ass. And
you literally found a flute, and you're like, I'm gonna play this.
Yeah, like I ended up being really good at it too, but like surprisingly enough, because I didn't even know I didn't know anything about a flute, nothing at all. Like I never even thought about ever playing it. But I ended up playing that. But, oh yeah,
shit.
in the soundtrack in the second one, I completely forgot. In the soundtrack in the second one, it had more depth to where you could hear the individual instrument parts rather than all, like, in unison. Like, you could hear and differentiate between, like, different sounds, but they all went together and to make, like, this epic sound. And my favorite, I sent it to you, my favorite song, Wheel of Fortune, when they were, like, fighting on the wheel.
So good.
It's so amazing. I love it so much, but I think it's my favorite purely because it has it kind of has snippets of every song that makes the film, like kind of compiled into one, but so perfectly to where it's kind of like a journey, and it's fantastic. And it suits, and it's so epic, but then it goes into Davy Jones's theme, and that's all gentle, but then it goes like back into and then I love it.
I love it too.
Liz, did you watch anything else this week? Oh no, you said no.
Other than lectures? No.
Lectures. Very good. Where can people find you online if you want to advertise your Twitch channel and your Spotify and everything?
Oh, if you are interested, I am Little Lizard on Twitch and on YouTube. I regularly stream random games, or if you want to listen to some audios, I am on YouTube for that. I also have some music on Spotify, and actually the music is everywhere, I think. but we've been re-recording recently and writing some new stuff. So soon, hopefully, once it all gets written and once we get back into it, we are going to be releasing an album. But it's definitely not finished. But we're very hyped about it.
Yay!
Okay, congratulations.
I'm kind of like, thank
congratulations. I will stream that day one, unless I'm really busy, and even then I will try to stream that day one.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Thank
awesome.
you. That means so much. It's still not finished, but I'm still way too shy to sing in front of people. And I want to like randomly sing during my streams just because I have like songs pop into my head, but I'm still too shy to do it. And it's kind of ironic since I literally have music out there, but it's like I wish I had the confidence.
You can do it.
Thank you. I wish.
Awesome. Yeah, so go follow Liz on all the things. What's your Spotify?
Go listen to Red Laurenti on Spotify and follow them on Instagram. Also follow LittleLizardAudio on Twitch, Twitter, and subscribe to YouTube. How's that?
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
ASMR.
It's
Thank
worth
you
it.
guys
It's
so
worth
much
it.
for having me.
I'm so excited. This was perfect, I think.
This
It's
was
like
fantastic.
it really does fit you and your all your animals you got. I love it. I love all the connections we made. This has been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I enjoyed it so much. Thank you guys so much for letting me be here. Thank you, Jake, for inviting me.
It was an honor.
Thank you, Maddie, for being in my streams. And it's an honor to be here. Holy heck.
It's an honor to have you.
Thank you so much. I had so much fun. I didn't expect to have this much fun with the films and just talking about it.
Oh, I thought you meant with us. I'm like, gee, thanks.
Oh, no, I love you guys. I just didn't really expect to enjoy it as much as I did because I've never really sat and talked about films before because I do like to talk about things, but I don't really have an excuse to, and I like to sit down and dissect things, but I don't really get a chance to, and thank you guys so much for giving that to me. I had so much fun, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we really love all your insight with all these. It was great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you guys enough.
Well,
This has been awesome.
Well, the same
It
goes
has,
for you.
thank you.
Like, it's just so great that you're.
Oh
you're
wait!
Like, yeah,
Oh shit!
What?
What's our prescription, Jake?
I don't even know.
So next week we will watch Arrival. Please go home, watch Arrival, come back, and we will discuss it for next week. And Liz, thank you so much for joining us
so
today.
very much.
Thank you for inviting me.
Take your medicine for next week, and we will see you then.
Adderall.